Welcome to the Flood Depth Grid non-GIS tutorial. This presentation provides details about what flood depth grids are and how they can be used to prioritize community mitigation. Most communities are familiar with using flood insurance rate maps, or flood maps, to guide sound floodplain management decisions. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, also created flood risk products to be used alongside regulatory products like FIRMS. Flood risk products are non-regulatory, ready-made sources of additional information that go beyond the basic flood hazard information on the FIRM and provide more extensive and more user-friendly information. Flood risk products can help communities make better and more effective mitigation decisions. Flood risk products include the Flood Risk Database, which stores the changes since last FIRM, water surface elevation grids, flood depth grids. It may also store the percent annual chance grid, percent 30-year chance grid, flood risk assessment, and areas of mitigation interest. A flood risk map and a flood risk report will often accompany the database. Flood depth grids illustrate the depth of water instead of elevation above the ground surface. Grids identify areas of increased risk and demonstrate the variability of flood depths in flood-prone areas. Depth is usually relative to topographic or elevation data obtained by LiDAR or light detection and ranging collection. The most common depth grid produced is the 1% annual chance grid, which is the reoccurrence interval represented on FIRMS. Flood depth grids are created based on the WSEL grid. The flood depth grid displays values that are measured from the ground, whereas the WSEL grid is measured from the NAVD88. NAVD88 is the fixed zero elevation for North America. Elevation measurements shown in depth grids can be used for building permits, engineering and architectural documents, elevation certificates, and flood maps. The following part of this tutorial outlines steps in the Colorado Hazard Mapping Program website for determining what the flood depth is for specific locations. The Colorado Hazard Mapping website is a one-stop shop for citizens, community officials, and industry stakeholders to find a variety of information about Colorado's flood risk. It is organized by stakeholders so that a property owner, community official, or CTP representative can quickly find information most relevant to them. To navigate the Colorado Hazard Mapping site from the homepage, click the Flood Hazard window. Here you will see the homeowner section where properties are found by an engine that looks up addresses or by zooming into an area using the map viewer. The County Flood Information section allows the user to click their county name and view study information specific to each county. The General Information section provides videos, printable fact sheets, templates, and much more. The CHAMP section allows the user to view the status of all CHAMP projects within Colorado. Here you will see an example of a specific county in the County Flood Information, which brings the user to an in-depth look at each flood study for that county. Once you have selected a county, you will see this page with multiple tabs across the top. For this tutorial, click the Depth Grids tab. Enter your address in the search bar. When you hit enter at the end of your address, a pop-up will appear. Use the plus and minus buttons to zoom into your property and the mouse to pan. If the property is located within the 1% floodplain, the pop-up will show a 1% depth number. The depth number is the height of floodwater in feet above the ground surface. This is the estimated depth of water that would inundate the property if a 100-year flood occurred. As previously mentioned, flood risk products were developed to be used alongside regulatory products like FIRMS to help guide those tough conversations. Many of the flood risk products help stakeholders visualize their flood risks in a way that lines on the firm cannot, making flood risk products a powerful communication tool. The following provides more resources to learn more about flood risk products. So how exactly can depth grids be used for mitigation? Depth grids can be used to prepare flood risk communication materials for discussions with citizens and business owners. They can be used along with local data to identify population and areas within the community that could be at risk during multiple storm events. Plan for potential road closures due to antiquated flood depths. Review more stringent building codes, standards, and develop elevation requirements. Create cost-benefit depth damage calculations. Assist with land use and comprehensive planning decisions to guide development to areas with lower flood risks. Depth grids provide information about variability and possibility of flooding in terms that are visually understood. Please use these web pages for printable flood risk product fact sheets, Colorado's resiliency plan throughout the state, FEMA-specific resources, other uses for a base flood elevation, and what exactly is meant by the term 100-year flood. A geographic information system, known as GIS, is a powerful tool for visualization and data analysis. If you're interested in trying GIS, check out these resources. Once you have an ArcGIS platform, contact your community for a copy of the flood risk database and a flood risk product map package. For additional information, please contact representatives from the Colorado Water Conservation Board.